Granite A. Sizi Alice Rigney. I tell for Chipewyan restaurant A. A Janok ini yao. Could do another Heslium. Sequoia dad A. Good day. My name is Alice Rigney, and I live in Fort Chipewyan, Alberta. Actually, I was born here, raised on the Delta at Jackfish Lake, and product of the mission. But now I am retired and staying at home, raising 2 grandsons and loving it through these tough times. But today we want to talk about Dene laws, and the Dene laws to me are specifically examples that were taught by my parents and my grandparents and extended family, but not in words where they sat us down to say, sharing is such a big thing of our life, that there's no words for please and thank you in our language or in most Dene languages, or even maybe more than that. That came with the invasion of our country. It's the examples that are that were shared by my parents, by helping each other, taking care of yourself by getting enough sleep and good food. All that is really important to maintain your daily activities, because most of these laws what we learn or taught happen on the land versus living in a town like today. So there was a lot of respect, to respect yourself, to respect each other, your siblings. There shouldn't be any fighting. There's nothing wrong with arguing, but don't be afraid to say I forgive you or I'm sorry, because that shortens the distance between feelings of, and it's wrong to hurt someone and walk away. And young people nowadays need to understand that, because it seems so different with the technology that a lot of these values have faded away, and it's up to us to restore that. And then by restoring it, we are bringing back our teachings. Like loving everyone. No one is better than you, and you're no better than anyone. And if everybody thought like that, this world would have no wars. And I think, before before Columbus got lost and found us, we had wars. Our people had wars, but not like it is today. It was, this was my trap line. Now it's like in my trap line, and it's all these invisible lines that separate Canada into provinces. We had none of that those days, it was all sharing. And my grandmother used to talk about how, they used to walk us. They had no, they would walk to Churchill, to go and trade their furs there because they had better prices. That, that kind of endurance took a lot of endurance and willpower and working together to make this happen, which is not something that happens these days, so sadly. Yeah, and to be happy, try and be more happy, and being happy, I think, gives you positive vibes, that people want to be around you when you're happy. And I think it's something that comes with as you age more, because I know I didn't know much happiness when I was young, because I was in the mission for so many years, that they took away a lot of feelings. We did not know how to think for ourselves, because they did that to us, and we were just a number. And, it really hurt. And that hurt really went on to see so many of the people that I was in the mission with take the wrong path. And so many of them died when they were young, lost, and became parents. And, that trend continued. to this day. That some of them, we talk about the seventh generation. Well, what is the seventh generation when, I think so many of us, I'm in my 60s and I think I'm still healing from what happened. I still have those days when what happened to me in a mission is a flashback that I don't want to, and it affects the people around me. And so I've learned to control that, because I believe that I have healed over the years. That trauma that happened to me in the mission is just that. It's a bad memory, and it does not control me anymore. And so those are the teachings that I have, from my days in the mission, that I pass on to my children, and that I receive as a gift from my parents and my grandparents. When I think of them living at Jackfish and the work they did together, killing a moose, it was such a happy sight to see, my dad coming home with, and if we saw branches in the boat, we knew there was, fresh moose meat, and how that meat was divided so that every family got some. And the work that went into it, making dry meat, and the children getting the firewood, and it had to be certain kind of firewood. You use diamond willow or alder. You don't use spruce or that because it has black smoke. Those are the kind of little teachings that, you remember. And nowadays, I don't mean to put people down, but if they singe a duck with spruce or jack pine, I can tell the difference, but it's still a gift, so it doesn't really matter. You look the other way a lot of times, and that's something that's accepting what you get. And a lot of times accepting what you get is how hard you put your mind into it too. How you want people to remember you. And as you get older and you see your grandchildren, you get the patience and the love, and you want to do more for them than what you had. And it's so especially true for especially my generation. That was where we had our youth stolen from us by the nuns and the priests. For a long time, I didn't go to church because I did not like what happened in there. But as I started taking my parents to church, because they needed to, and they were devoted Catholics, so they went to church every Sunday. I told them what happened to me in the mission, and they understood why we couldn't tell them, because we were children and we were told we would cause trouble if we said anything. But then they also made me realize that it was not the church that did that to us, it was individuals. And I never had to confront any of the individuals that did the damage to us in the mission. And it was really hard to forgive them. But by forgiving them, you're taking that load off your shoulders. And when you take that off, then you have room for more love towards people around you. And I think that's why I became a social worker, was because I wanted to help my people. I was raised in a home where there was no alcohol, no violence, and I was so blessed to have that. And it's something that I didn't always carry. I didn't carry that teaching because I drank as a parent, and without parenting skills, we tried, but most of us failed. But my children understand now, that I was, because I was truthful to them. I told them why I was not a good parent, and that what happened in the mission is not something I can erase. But I have changed. I have become a better person, and I want change. I want them to love like I love. I want them to understand what I understand. And I want them to look forward and see a brighter future, something I didn't have, but they have now. And to show respect for themselves, their parents, their siblings, and especially the elders. Because I think so many times right now, elders are forgotten or neglected. When you think back to before all this, before colonization, there was no need for retirement homes or long-term care because we took care of our parents and our grandparents. And we had just have become so busy that and I know it'll never go back to the days where we just lived off the land and my dad trapped in the winter and fished in the summer and gardened, and that he didn't need a 9-to-5 job, although he did work at times. My mother never had a job like that, like a paying job, because she had so many children, and her role was to mother us. And I think that, the Denney laws have all that if you look at the Denney laws, and I have it up on my wall, and I go over it with my children, when I, tell them to love one another. And by loving one another, you have that respect for them, that they are individuals, they have their own thoughts, but you can train them, you could help them to take the teachings that they've learned, heard, and acted towards others. And if you do that, then you're respecting yourself. So the Dene laws are very important. It's almost like our commandments of the land, of the people. And one of them that I strongly believe in is, through the loss of our culture, especially the language. Learn your language, and it'll give you the opportunity, as my granny said to me, if you speak your language, your elders will know who you are. And I think that was my turning point in my life, because up to that point I didn't understand my language. I understood it, but I didn't speak it, and that was when I made up my mind that I would speak it. And now I feel very fortunate that I can teach it. I can pass that on by teaching Dene classes. So, as I'm coming full circle, I'm content with what I have. I love what I do. I love gardening this time of the year. I hear the birds coming in. I do that connection, and that's my church. Like we said earlier, you don't need to pray on your knees in a building called a church. The church is the whole universe. And so, yeah, I think that the Dene laws are important, and I think they need to be recorded so that most people, see it and comprehend what they're reading and live it. So with that, that's my Dene laws. Masicho.